How is your eyesight? That's probably not the question you'd expect to start with on the topic of God and money. But bear with me for a moment. I'm reminded of a friend who was working in a hardware store and needed to cover for someone in the paint department. It was going well until one customer asked, "Are you colorblind?" Rude question, right? But the answer was yes. And that's an issue if you're helping customers who are trying to match colors of paint. So how is your vision? Good eyesight enables us to see the world accurately. And that's exactly the way that Jesus talks about vision, except in a spiritual context. Our God has created a wonderful world filled with opportunities, but we cannot see them unless we allow God to correct our vision. Hear what Jesus says in his Sermon on the Mount. "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness." What is Jesus talking about? I can understand how good vision helps when choosing color paints, but how does good vision fill your body with light or darkness? Jesus was using a common metaphor from his time. In the ancient Hebrew culture, an unhealthy or evil eye was a jealous eye. In contrast, a good eye was one that was generous. So let's listen to Jesus again with that metaphor in mind. Your eyes bring light into your life. If your eyes are good, if you look out at the world and see opportunities for generosity, then your whole life will be full of God's love and truth. But if your eyes are bad, if you look around and see only what's in it for you, then your whole life will be filled with darkness. In other words, Jesus is inviting us to see the world how God sees it. That is, to see the world the way it truly is, filled with opportunities for generosity. Remember when Isaac asked his father Abraham where the sacrifice was? Do you remember Abraham's famous answer? "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." God will provide. What incredible faith. Actually, Abraham's literal answer is, God sees. Jehovah Jireh, God sees. And if God sees, God's generosity will provide. Abraham knows that God's vision is good, seeing the world as a place filled with opportunities for generosity. Is that what we see? Or do we turn a blind eye? So, as we begin to reflect on our faith as it relates to money and wealth, the invitation is to allow God to open our spiritual eyes, to have the same vision as God, to look at the world and say, not what's in it for me, but rather, Lord, show me where you are inviting me to join you in blessing others. Perhaps that could be your prayer as you take your first step out the door in the morning. Lord, open my eyes to those you would like to bless. As you encounter coworkers and fellow students, ask God to open your eyes to folks in need of a kind word or a helping hand. When you give financially, take the time to pray for those whom God might use your gift to bless. Above all, take the time to be grateful for all that God has richly given you, and remember that one of God's greatest blessings is the invitation to join God in generously blessing the world.